各位观众们、朋友，大家好。Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I have our state representative Gene Wu 吴元之在我们节目。我们今天很重要。And first of all, Happy New Year, Gene. Happy Chinese New Year.
新年快乐。
新年快乐。Happy Lunar New Year. 很悲哀 Today is the second day of our Lunar New Year, which is celebrated by more people than the Western New Year. And yet, we're living in a state where anti-immigrant and racist and xenophobic laws are being passed and turning it into a bipartisan issue.
Right.
Gene, there's not enough awareness, there's not enough media coverage, and very importantly for us, for Asian Americans, there's not enough people that even knows or care about what's going on, because this will affect their children, they will affect their generations to come. Chinese exclusion as over 100 years ago, and now we're going back to it. Tell our audience a little bit about what is this bill 147.
So this is Senate Bill 147, and the point of it was for them to be very quiet about it and just get it done, right? The difference that's changed is that the community has found this bill and is now paying attention. So the bill, in its most basic form, would say, if you are a citizen of another country, right? That means that you are from China, you are from Russia, you are from Iran or North Korea, and you have not become a United States citizen yet. That means all visa holders, all green card holders, no matter how long you've had a green card, you are subject to this, okay? There's a lot of people who say that, oh, no, it doesn't say green card, it doesn't say LPR, lawful permanent resident, but that's what the bill means. They say if you are a citizen of another country, you are a citizen of another country until the day that you swear the oath to become and defend the United States and as a citizen. So if you were, there's Chinese people who have had a green card for 20, 30 years because they just haven't had time, they don't have the money, or they just haven't gotten around to applying for citizenship yet. And it takes a long time to become a citizen. So it would affect everyone. So you, let's say if this law passes, and you're a Chinese with a green card, and you are married to another Chinese person with a green card. If you died, your property cannot go to your surviving spouse, right? Your property, we don't know what will happen. Your property cannot go to your spouse because the law says that your spouse, because they're not a U.S. citizen, and they're a citizen of China, cannot acquire property.
Gene, see, these details I didn't even know. Just the bold main points are already so upsetting. Let me get this straight for our audience, because our audience is all over the United States, all over the world.
Yeah.
This is in Texas and Florida. These kind of things goes on. These are extremist views proposed by extremist minority elected officials whose districts do not include any minorities. What we call these country redneck folks, they want to appeal to pander to their base. This does not benefit the economy or the state or the county. It does not. It definitely is not. Look, first of all, there's the Federal Fair Housing Act. We're not supposed to discriminate against race, religion.
Right.
This is against our Constitution, our Bill of Rights.
Right.
Yet this is not being condemned. Not only, it is not bipartisan. If you are a radical Republican party, a supporter, and you're an immigrant, which everyone is immigrant here, unless you're a native Indian. Why are you allowing this to happen? This is not a political issue. This is straight racist and going against the foundation of being American. This scares me, and it should scare everyone. Gene, you just organized a protest in downtown Houston.
Yep.
And also in Fort Bend County last week. There's not enough media coverage, first of all, even by our local media. And this is on top of this horrific shooting that happened in Monterey Park, South Taipei. Right. And this is after 3 years of Trump's attack on all Asians, the pandemic, this coronavirus. We've talked about this for so long. I fear for my children. I fear for your children. We forgot what the last two generations did for us. We forgot that without the civil rights movement, without protesting it and asking for a seat at the table, this could be taken away. And this is the first step. This is what the Nazis did. This is what the Japanese did during their occupation of Southeast Asia. That's the first step.
Well, and Jimmy, this is what the United States did in World War II as well. And I talked about this in my speech, that during World War II, when the United States was fighting Japan and Germany, the United States government says, okay, we know that the Americans with German ancestry are not our enemies. And so the American government only rounded up and arrested the people of German nationality, the German nationals, right? People who are coming to visit from Japan, from Germany. But on the Japanese side, of the 160,000 Japanese Americans rounded up, more than 60% were naturalized citizens or natural-born citizens. So why is that difference? Because on one side, we recognize that people who come from a place does not represent the place. But on the other side, when it comes to Asians, they say everybody that looks this way is going to be rounded up and taken in. And you know what happened to their property? You know what happened to all the land, the farmland, the houses, the businesses that were owned by Japanese Americans? They passed laws to say that they cannot own them anymore. And so people just moved in and took them. And this is what's going to happen. And this is the same type of thinking all over again, almost 100 years later.
Gene, I'm sorry. This is very disgusting because I live in Fort Bend County. I live in Sugar Land. This is called the most diverse city in America.
Right.
Houston is a city of immigrants. No matter what party, everyone understands that. The investment, the culture. Our kids go to school with people from everywhere. And yet, they're elected officials sitting here, not only supporting this bill, when they represent a minority district, they're condemning you and twisting the message to turn it around to divide the community. So let's go back to what you said. Why is the nuclear bomb dropped in Japan, not in Germany? Why the Chinese Exclusion Act and the internment camps for Japanese Americans? Why? Because let's be very clear. This Western countries for the last few centuries has been built on colonialism. Okay, this idea of this superiority. Yeah, you look down on a certain race. This is a bamboo ceiling. We still see it. You know, the assumption of where are you from? No, where are you really from? This is the same thing again. And I hope our audience can understand this. This affects not just Chinese. Let's be clear. They will not know the difference whether you're Korean or Vietnamese or Chinese. You're the same.
Exactly.
That means that every time a person of yellow skin, of Asian descent, buys a house, you will go through this kind of scrutiny, which is illegal, federal. That every time your children and your children's children will be judged, right, with color lenses. That this is not the foundation of this country. I cannot believe this. And second, this is ludicrous saying that a permanent citizen, a green card holder cannot. Because if you are a foreign agent, which during Trump's campaign, we know they're the lobbyists and foreign agents that donated. Let's be clear. You could be a U.S. citizen and still be representing an enemy state. This is not it. This is saying that if there was one case out of a million of a foreign citizen that owns property that happens to be a former member, and let me be clear, if you came out from North Korea or Venezuela or China back then, you already have to be part of this. You're escaping from tyranny, and you're part of it. You're punishing them again. Refugee. They're refugees, and they have to be. So you're saying all of them, and like you said from the beginning, that means Cubans will be, Venezuelans will be, Vietnamese. I mean, where does it stop then? Gene, where does it stop?
So, and then that's sort of why I use example is, any group can be added to this bill with a one-word change in the bill, right? It's a one-word amendment to add your country in. And so the argument is not that these other countries, other places should be added in, it's that nobody should be added in. Leave people alone. If you want to have a problem, if you want to have a fight with another country, go have a fight with that country. But what we're saying, just like my example with the Japanese internment in World War II, the people with the same ancestry do not represent the government of that country, right?
Absolutely.
Like North Koreans who escaped North Korea, who fled for their lives do not carry the interests of the North Korean government. Okay, and we have no diplomatic ties with North Korea. There are no North Korean diplomats walking around Texas. There are no North Korean agents. We do not have a relationship with them. Everyone from North Korea who is here is a U.S. invited refugee. They are literally escaping North Korea. And now you're going to punish them again for the government that they escaped from. And the same with Chinese. My family did not just come to the U.S. We escaped to the U.S. We fled to the U.S. We fled to the land of opportunity, the land of freedom, right? And to begin, again, to be rounded up and placed into this category of somehow we're responsible, our community, people who have immigrated here, people who have decided to make the United States their home, their permanent home, are being punished again for the place they escaped from. Here's the thing. This is a slippery slope. This is a dangerous start. Like you said, like what we've been talking about, it's not that hard to add another country in. It's not that hard to add two countries in. It's not that hard to add entire sections of the globe in. Don't forget, we're not that many years away from the Muslim ban, right? The United States banned people from all the Muslim countries from coming here. And that was ruled unconstitutional. That was ruled illegal. And here we are trying to do the same kind of thing. And I'm saying to my brothers and sisters who are from Pakistan, who are from Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, all these different places, come join us, because it is a one-word change to this bill to add your community in. And don't wait until they come for you. And I had the exact same conversation with the Chinese community when it was the Muslim ban. And I say, we need to speak up, and we need to tell people we're not Muslim, but this is wrong.
I remember this.
And a lot of the Chinese people said, we don't care. We don't care. We're not Muslim.
Gee,
that's not our problem.
Let me kind of discuss this issue also with our Asian American, Chinese Americans. I was angry for years. We've been bringing awareness to go vote, to demand your rights, to fight for your children, your parents, for yourself. And I have come to an understanding. A lot of our immigrants from Pakistan or China or Korea, they didn't grow up here. They don't understand how democracy works and the system of having to go out there and get it done. And I'm not justifying for them. I'm trying to explain that, okay, I see why they need a push. To them, it's, oh, it doesn't matter. My vote doesn't matter. Or, hey, going to protest or going to show my face doesn't matter. They don't understand how much it does matter, especially now. Because if you stay quiet, then
exactly
your voice is taken away by these radical, this extreme. They do not represent what the majority of Americans think. Most Texans do not support this bill. Do not let them take the right. Do not let these Trumpers or whatever racist folks take the mic. Like you said, the competition between countries has nothing to do with the people, the citizens. Our country is built by the best of the best from all over the world since World War II. It's always been like this. My family, you want to talk about communism, your family, my family was murdered by communists. We escaped from China. Both my grandparents' fathers fought with United States, awarded silver stars and medals by the United States Army against the Japanese. We know what it means to escape from tyranny. If you want to talk about why are we not supporting this, we know that this does not it does not help us defending against communism. It definitely does not help. Like, you're targeting our own citizens, people that are tax-paying citizens or tax-paying permanent residents, tax-paying green card holders. You're not even talking about illegal immigrants. These are legal immigrants that came here, whether as refugee or invited or that are professors, scholars. And then what happens when this image changes? The world look at us now as not a country that's welcoming. Now they see these headlines, and then we have mass shootings. How do we continue? The reason we're a step ahead of the world is because we keep attracting elite the best of the best, because of the system we have. And now all they see is this. Since COVID ended, people's traveling, they're going back to their home countries or their parents' countries, they come back. Everything I hear is the same. What's going on in America? How are you guys living in that kind of situation where you live in fear with shooting and these racist remarks? Asian students getting stabbed on the bus, getting pushed off the railroad track. Yeah, my friends here in Houston being yelled, go back to your country, or very racist names. And you see, a lot of our Asian immigrants live in a glass bubble, right? We live in a suburb. We have a white collar job, and we think we're safe because we don't have to take mass transit or be with other groups of people. When you do have to, when that happens, then you realize it will be too late. Just like what the Nazis did with the Jewish people. When there's no one else left to speak up for you. Speak up for your other minorities and immigrants. Stand together. This is why, this is what concerns me. This is what concerns me the most.
But I felt good today because we had people from around the world, every race, every group, every religion were out there supporting us and saying, I'm not Chinese and I'm not Russian and I'm not Iranian or North Korean, but I stand with those communities to say this is wrong, right? There's tons of people who said, when we had problems, the Asian community stood with us and we stand with them, right? Racism and discrimination is wrong no matter who the victim is. And this we want people to remember that. And you brought up a great point. This is actually going to further increase and incite and encourage anti-Asian violence. It's not even, and again, like you said, it's not directed even at the Chinese, because nobody around here knows the difference between Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, or anything.
They don't care.
The attacker in Midland, the attacker in Midland in the Sam's Club, attacked a Burmese family. And anybody who's Asian would say, like, Burmese look nothing like Chinese. But that person went and stabbed a child and stabbed the family, yelling about China, yelling about Chinese people. And that is going to happen more and more often. Like what happened in California, my first thought was, God, I hope this is not anti-Asian violence, because that is a real escalation. It is, and the problem with the escalation is it's going to create copycats.
Yes.
It encourages. And that's the problem with this legislation. Even if this bill does not pass, the fact that it was filed, the fact that we're discussing it will encourage people to take acts, to increase their discrimination, to use this as saying, hey, you see, the people in the government says this is okay. So whatever they say it's okay to go after these people, that's a cue for me to go and do stupid stuff. Okay, this will be seen as a provocation. This will be seen as a tacit approval of discriminatory and racist acts. Just like during Trump, every time that Trump mentioned China, talked about the coronavirus, talked about Asian people, the level of violence, the level of hate around the nation against the Asian community increased dramatically. And it doesn't have to be just from white Republicans. When people hear the government basically say it's okay to go after this group, they will take it as a clear message that it's all fair game. And this is what we have to worry about. Even if this bill does not pass, the damage has been done. And if this bill passes, there will be significantly more damage.
Gene, this is so much to absorb, because what you're seeing is the ripple effect of how it would affect all of us, all Texans actually, because it's not just creating hatred toward a specific group of Americans. It's also fueling these regimes, their narrative of the United States, creating hatred even in their countries to validate what they're saying about us. That the land of the free is not what it is. The double standard. Gene, give us a minute. We'll be right back, because there are some things that we had to discuss, and we want to see how all Asian Americans could support you in this battle, this specific battle. We'll be right back.